Well, I've been talking about this theme of ice for a few years now, and I guess my theory is that ice in the media, whether it's movies, TV shows, the news, it seems to represent the supernatural world. You have a lot of these movies like the X-Files where they go to Antarctica kind of for no reason, and they find ancient biological sample that they must bring back to society to save the world, possibly to make a vaccine. And it's usually an ancient sample representing some kind of ancient life form, possibly the first life form ever. And you just see this theme all over. I've been thinking about making a video on this with all the recent developments with ice, who are literally on the ice. And then you have this weather storm, which they're calling an ice storm, which is kind of unusual. It's not like ice is falling from the sky, as far as I know, but they're calling it an ice storm, and it's like this massive wave of ice coming through the entire country. So it's just too many coincidences for me, really. In the mass media, there's usually not too many coincidences. It's all kind of planned out, because that's how they control the herd, control our mind with the narratives. They're telling us stories, and people think it's real, and they react based on emotion and fear, which expresses itself in outrage and anger. It's very predictable, very simple, very easy to control a population if you control the mass media. But why the ice? Well, this ice storm spreading through the United States reminds me of this movie, The Day After Tomorrow, where basically the world was covered in ice, and especially America. And you see this in movies like Ghostbusters. Some of these franchise movies head into the ice-themed narrative. Even Batman had Dr. Freeze or Mr. Freeze, whatever his name was. So it seems to represent some kind of demonic activity, some kind of supernatural activity sweeping over the nation. Maybe the demons have been unleashed, something like that. And what finally pushed me over the edge to make this video was seeing this image here, where Trump is walking on the ice with footprints. So footprints are another symbol that we've seen a lot. There's a consistent, identifiable pattern in the mass media, movies, TV shows, the news, which are all kind of the same thing, really. There's a consistent pattern where footprints represent, again, a biological sample or a copy, a print. Like when you go to the print shop to make copies, a print is a footprint, an imprint of this primordial sample that they found in the supernatural realm represented by the ice. So footprints on the ice, or the ice and snow, represent hybrids, possibly. That's my theory. And the penguin would probably represent a demon or a Dybbuk, and this could possibly represent Trump being demonically influenced and working for the demons to expand the ice empire. Ice is taken over means the demons are taken over. And Greenland is basically the same thing as the Arctic. It's the same symbol. And Trump even called Greenland a piece of ice. He wants a piece of ice. That's all he wants. He just wants a piece of ice. And he even called it Iceland. He's thinking of Greenland as ice. He's using the ice terminology as much as possible. There couldn't be any more ice in the media right now. We're saturated with ice. It's the ice age. Again, the footprints in the snow, the ice and snow with blood. The Thing, right? The Thing, alien parasite, and hybrids on the ice. The primordial sample. They always say like it comes from space. Space is another one of these things. It's basically the same as ice. Ice and space are the same thing because there's a barrier made of ice between us and the supernatural realm. The colony. Now, I'd recommend this, actually, if you're into these kind of themes of alien parasites. Forced underground by the next ice age, right? It's the ice age. We're in the ice age. Trump was talking about the golden age, but it looks like we're in the ice age. It might be the same thing. A struggling outpost of survivors must fight to preserve humanity against a threat even more savage than nature. Now, I saw this a while ago, so I kind of forgot it, but it was pretty good. The rules of survival changed forever. And I think I remember there's some kind of parasite type thing, and there's inoculations and all kinds of the usual stuff. Not really a well-known movie, but I thought this was pretty interesting. Look at only 5.3, but if you look at these esoterically, they get a lot more interesting. Most people just watch these to be entertained on the surface, but if you look at the underlying esoteric symbolism, the rating would be much higher. The colony, right? Like a colony of hosts, a colony of people who are demonically possessed or even biologically transformed. See, a world covered in ice represents the supernatural world taking over the material world. Snowpiercer, now this takes place on a land of ice and snow. Look at this. In a future where a failed climate change experiment has killed all life. That comes right from a Roland Emmerich movie. He has the same plot in multiple movies. Killed all life except for the survivors who boarded the Snowpiercer. It's Noah's Ark, a train that travels around the globe. A new class system emerges. Class warfare in a land of ice and snow. Day After Tomorrow. This film explores the survival of humanity against the backdrop of an icy apocalypse. It also sparked discussions about climate change. Jack Hall, paleoclimatologist. He's in the crosshairs of a sudden international storm which plunges the planet into a new ice age. That's what seems to be happening now. And see, this Statue of Liberty, it was kind of a symbol of freedom. That's how, most people interpret this, even though it's basically an androgynous goddess. Freedom has been frozen. And there's Frozen, the movie right there. The Ice Age. They go across the world on the brink of an ice age. And there's like multiple sequels. I've never seen any of them. The Ice Queen. There's the Ice Queen, played by Charles Theron. The Ice Queen. And even the movie Transformers starts out in the Arctic, where they discover the primordial sample full of all kinds of esoteric symbolism. Miracle on Ice. I think there's a new one of these movies out now. Minnesota, right? The best hockey players in the world. That's why Canada should take Minnesota and become a hockey superpower. America takes Greenland. Denmark gets Justin Bieber and the alleged husband, and possibly even all Canadian celebrities go to Denmark. It's a fair trade. I'm just trying to make a deal here. That's all I'm trying to do. Slapshot 2. I didn't know there was a sequel to Slapshot. This changes everything. There's one called Ice with Sam Neill. 2020, climate change threatens to unleash a new ice age. Ice Queen. There's the Ice Queen right there. The new ice age. Ice Angel. It's about a transvestite on ice, it looks like, huh? Look at that. His chance for gold just got switched. I've never heard of this one. This is hilarious. Now, my guess is this is about a hockey player and then switched to become a figure skater, a female figure skater. Ice Angel. A popular hockey player and an ice skater die on the same day. The soul of the skater goes to heaven, but the hockey player is reborn in the body of the ice skater. Yeah, it's a transvestite. That's very interesting. That's very Gnostic. Matt comes back to life as Sarah Bryan, a female figure skater who fell into a coma, who just passed into heaven. Both want to share in the Winter Olympics. So according to this movie, the way to get the gold, the way to be a champion is to become an androgyne. Now, the new Superman movie opens up with Superman in the ice and his hideout, the Fortress of Solitude. It's in the ice. It's a supernatural realm. He's an alien. Minnesota refuses to cooperate with ice. It's right there. Even when I'm not looking for it, the ice is coming. Chaos, right? They're basically telling us the ice agents came to bring chaos, okay? And that's basically a recreation. So like the flood was a return to chaos because of human disobedience and corruption. And then God started over with Noah. Noah was like a new Adam, and the flood waters subsided, and there was like a new creation. And so this ice age represents a new world order. It's a new creation. It's a new world being born. But the old world has to be destroyed first. So this ice age that's happening now, possibly metaphorically or possibly actually, is the destruction of the world. It's a flood of ice, and ice symbolism and supernatural activity, and then the earth will be reborn again. A new world is rising from the frozen tundra that destroyed the old world. We have the Dorito-shaped aircraft, which means that really what these aliens are looking for is some good salsa so they can dip the chip. And there it is. Doesn't get more real than that. That looks like a Dorito flying through the sky, looking for some salsa, some guacamole. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Look at that. There it is right there. It's the ice taking over the world. And it's demonic ice, right? That's exactly what this is. Now, I don't think I've ever seen this movie, but it's demonic ice. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. That's what's going on now. An evil force has been unleashed from an ancient artifact, the primordial sample. True Detective Night Country. All kinds of demonic things going on. The truth lies in the dark. It lies in the ice, too. A supernatural realm. And there's a lab where they're creating hybrids. Ice, the X-Files. Ice is the 8th episode of the first season of the X-Files. Alaska. The team discover the existence of extraterrestrial parasitic organisms that drive their hosts into impulsive fits of rage. Parasites in the Arctic. Inspired by news about Greenland. The Thing from Another World and The Thing. Inspired by The Thing. They find an ice core sample, a primordial sample, believed to have originated from a meteor crater, all right, the supernatural world. He's asked to provide a stool sample, all right? The parasite is in the fecal matter, and that's another part of the pattern that we see in the mass media. The Thing, they encounter an extraterrestrial life form that assimilates, then imitates other organisms. It's like the invasion of the body snatchers. The Thing from Another World, 1951. They find a crashed flying saucer frozen in the Arctic ice and a humanoid body nearby. Natural or supernatural? The Thing from Another World. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here. There's a natural narrative happening, but it represents a supernatural activity. It's the Thing from Another World. They were talking about this in 1951. That's the tagline. Natural or supernatural ice. Ice agents, ice storms, parasites, mass inoculations, the X-Files, hybrids, film set in Antarctica, Alien versus Predator, Alien Hunter. So we got 2 alien movies right off the bat, Ape and Super Ape. Now the apes represent the FTM because a woman injects the hormones and then becomes a hairy man. So they use the ape to represent that. But it also represents a hybrid as well, an ancient hybrid, the primordial sample. And we'll see that going forward. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Aquaman, who's basically Neptune. Black Adam. See, I didn't even know they went to Antarctica in these movies. Blue Beetle. They're all the same kind of movie. They're all about alien hybrids. Day After Tomorrow, we covered that. Deep Freeze. Look at that. Ice Crawlers. Fast X. Like, why are these guys going to Antarctica in Fast X? Godzilla versus Kong. Again, why would they go to Antarctica? Now, I think this is called like the Monsterverse or something. Godzilla and King Kong. These are very symbolic of what I'm talking about with the footprints and the hybrids and the supernatural activity coming from the abyss. Basically, the ice represents the abyss, the supernatural world. So all these Godzilla movies apparently have Antarctica themes. And see, there's the kind of the abyss symbology. I think in one of these movies, they actually go down to the abyss for a while. Mankind's efforts to move Earth out of its orbit to prevent it from colliding with a runaway dwarf star. Yeah, I mean, that's what would happen. If we were a planet floating around in space, we would have collided with something by now. Hell Below Zero. Ice People. Oh, look at this, the Ice People. That must be about Minneapolis. King Kong escapes. Why is King Kong going to Antarctica? The Land Unknown. Inspired by the discovery of unusually warm water in Antarctica in 1947. Even the last airbender goes to Antarctica, apparently. Nazis at the center of the earth. Well, there you go. The new Alcatraz. In the middle of Antarctica, a high maximum security prison called New Alcatraz has recently become operational. Well, that's a good place for a prison, but remember, the prison in a movie represents the abyss, and the people in the prison represent demons. Penguins. Penguins are demons. Shackleton. There's the hand, all right? The hand coming up from the abyss, the demonic entity entering into this realm. Superman, the Fortress of Solitude, the alien, the demon, coming up from the abyss, from the other realm into our realm to take over. The Thing, of course, that's probably the quintessential Antarctica theme. That's what I'm talking about. Virus. Japanese post-apocalyptic science fiction film. MM88, a deadly virus. Created accidentally by an American geneticist. The Americans recover the virus sample. There's the word sample, a key word to look for. Stolen from a lab, the virus is accidentally released after a plane crashes, creating a pandemic known as the Italian flu. Now, this is not a news story. This is the plot of a 1980 Japanese post-apocalyptic science fiction film directed by Kinji Fukasaku. Who will inherit the earth? And we have like a big pile of dung. Within 7 months, virtually all the world's population has died off, but the virus is inactive at temperatures below minus 10 degrees. So I guess everyone from Minnesota survived. Whiteout, look at this. Kate Beckinsale going to Antarctica. This is the one that talked about people hatching from eggs. And speaking of eggs, we got Duncan Egg, and we got the Dybbuk symbolism. We got some things going on in the Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. The X-Files. Very important scene in the movie. That's where they find the aliens. And that's also where they get the primordial sample, and that's where the humans go to become transformed into hybrids. They uncover what appears to be a government conspiracy attempting to hide the truth about an alien colonization of Earth. They're colonizing Earth, or at least they're trying to. They'll be partly successful, I guess. There's the Ice Age. A boy falls into the abyss and is infected by the black goo. Mission Impossible. They went to the Arctic as well to find the primordial sample, the ancient life form, the original life form, the androgynous Adam Cadmone, to save the world. Angela Bassett. Whoa. The Thaw. Val Kilmer. They're in the Canadian Arctic, and the outbreak of a pandemic. So we see a theme of pandemics in the Arctic. And of course, if there's a pandemic, they got to find the cure. Evelyn and Adam. Look at this. These two characters' names. Evelyn is Eve. Adam is Adam. Adam and Eve going to the Arctic during a pandemic, discovering eggs in the brain, injecting morphine. There's bugs, parasites. When you watch the news these days, you're basically watching the same thing as an X-Files episode. And you have the same kind of symbolism that the President of the United States is putting out there. The footprints, the ice, the Arctic, natural or supernatural. All right, this image, you could ask the same question. Is it natural or supernatural? What is going on? This represents hybrids, the hybridization of humanity. So if the demons want to take over Earth, they need a host. They need to live in our bodies. And that's what this represents. This is the alien, and this is a human, and they're together, walking hand in hand in the Ice Age, creating a new world. This could be the end of the age and the beginning of a new age, because it all represents a thing from another world. Is it natural or supernatural? Now that's a good place to stop as we ponder this question. Thank you.